Everywhere I go, the children rise. Everywhere I go, the children rise. I saw them just rise up, the wicked run. I saw them just rise up, the wicked run. Equal rights and justice, when I defend, we won't run away. Run away, run away, run away, run away. We won't run away. Run away, run away, run away, run away. If you go in America, if you go in Canada, if you go in Africa, I saw them just rise up, the wicked run. I saw them just rise up, the wicked run. I saw them just rise up, the wicked run. We won't run away. Run away, run away, run away, run away. We won't run away. Run away, run away, run away, run away. I get rolling to the people, yeah. The fire burn them wicked, wicked people, and the fire burn them wicked, wicked men. The fire burn them wicked, wicked friend. Fire burn on the wicked, burn on them say. The fire burn them wicked, wicked country, and the fire burn the wicked, wicked town. The fire burn them wicked, wicked city. Fire burn on the wicked, burn them. When it's impossible to see what's become of our people in their life, they do with so much evil. We will wobble, a triple tongue and trouble them. Sell them soldiers to work for the devil. But judges say, judgment may soon come when the wall of our son once again can tumble down. Beautiful Nash, people them are more with judge and pour out his rocks and fire and bring so the fire burn them wicked, wicked people, and the fire burn the wicked, wicked men. The fire burn them wicked, wicked friend. Fire burn down the wicked, burn down all of them. They say the fire burn the wicked, wicked country. The fire burn the wicked, wicked town. The fire burn them wicked, wicked city. Fire burn down the wicked, burn on Babylon. You know the people them must suffer and the whole of the time bleed while you spread your lies and propaganda, sow your bloody seed. The children working, the fingers to the bone while you pay all the money to some pretty face without a clothes. And your time will come, it will come. Just say when you beg the hills for cover, but the hills will run away. When we listen, when we love, it meant too late to have forgiveness when you will begin to move. And the fire burn them wicked, wicked people. The fire burn the wicked, wicked men. The fire burn them wicked, wicked friend. Fire burn down the wicked, burn down all of them. And the arrow pressing, we shall overcome, but certain nations ought instead. I give a little and even shed the tears. Easy selling our daughters for some butter or the bread. The fathers giving their lives up to son, doing battle for the devil, warring for the wicked one. You might think this is just another song, but the blood you spill, you're calling out along a long way. The fire burn them wicked, wicked people. The fire burn the wicked, wicked men. The fire burn them wicked, wicked friend. Fire burn down the wicked, burn down all of them. They say fire burn them wicked, wicked people, then the fire burn for wicked, wicked men. The fire burn your wicked, wicked friends. Fire burn on me. I want to say shalom and blessings to all of my brothers and sisters, my kinsmen according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertain the adoption and the glory and the covenants. It's an S on the end of that, covenants, and the giving of the law and the service of Elohim and the promises, whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, our Mashiach came, who is over all, Elohim, blessed forever and ever. Hallelujah. I want to give our praises to our Heavenly Father. I want to give our praises to His one and only begotten Son, Yehoshua Mashiach, our Redeemer, and our praises to the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, the Spirit of truth, the Spirit of comfort. Our praises to the one and only divine Elohim. There is no other. Hallelujah and amen. I want to say shalom to everybody in the chat. Hope everybody's doing well today. Got Sister Katrina Brown in the chat. Shalom to you. Good to see you. Hope all is well. That's Sarai Yahoo Bot Yasrael. Shalom and blessings. Good to see you in the chat as well. Got my brother Donovan Ben Judah. Shalom to you. Hope you're doing well today. Sister Pensilo Liyah. Shalom to you. Hope all is well. Got my brother Yash. As always, good to see you in the chat. I put that link in your email. If you got some time, got Sister Paula Lawrence and Brother Ralph. Shalom to y'all. Hope y'all doing well. And tell Brother Ralph, thank you for that track. And keep them coming, you know. But that one right there is fire for real. You know, appreciate that. Got my love, Shibriya in the chat. Good to see you. Got Sister Keisha in the chat. Good to see you. Shalom. Hope you're doing well. Sister Sheila in the chat. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. And that look like that's about everybody in the chat today. So I want to say shalom once again. Hope everybody's doing well. And I want to thank everybody for chiming in tonight. Tonight we're going to be dealing with a topic of reparations. All right. Now, this is not something that I want to get into for the purposes of trying to rile people up, you know, to fight for reparations or anything like that. Of course, my stance is that we should get it. However, I'm looking at things from a prophetic standpoint when it comes to our deliverance and our redemption and our restoration. But what I want to do is I want to play a video, and what this video is going to do is it's going to pretty much highlight the division, more of the division that we have between our people, even when it comes to our restoration. In this country, there's a big division. All right. You have some of our people who believe that we should get it. And then you have a lot of our people who are strongly opposed to it. All right. And there are hidden motives behind that. But before we get too deep into anything, I want to remind brothers and sisters about part 2 of the Supersessionism documentary that'll be playing this Sunday at the same time, 1 p.m. I hope y'all were able to catch part 1. Everybody in the chat seems familiar, so I'm assuming everybody was able to catch part 1. But if not, feel free to go and look at that and get some good understanding on the early church forefathers and their mission when it came to establishing
the quote-unquote Christian belief as we know it today. That's in part 1, but part 2 will be coming up this Sunday, airing at the same time, so don't forget about that. Also, let me see. Also, once again, brothers and sisters, if you get a chance, go over and check out the website. That's trueebri.com. And for those who question about supporting the work that we do, all right, this is one way that you are able to support the channel and the work that we do. Let's go through some merchandise real quick. It's quite a few things on here. We got some nice t-shirts and sweaters and everything. Got a few hats. We even got a few things for the kids. And keep in mind that we are adding to the site constantly. As much as we can, when we can, we add to it. And so if you go to the site, click on the catalog tab, you'll be able to see all of the merchandise that we have on there so far. All right. So you have a lot of different options here. We'll be adding some more. And also for brothers and sisters who have ideas in mind, if you want anything customized, feel free to let us know that and we can work that out for you. But that's trueebri.com. And I want to thank all of you brothers and sisters who have went on so far and looked around and purchased some merchandise. I want to thank you for that. And I want to thank everybody else in advance, for just going to check it out. And if you want to support, you see something you like, feel free. All right. So we're going to be getting into this video tonight dealing with reparations. And before we do, I'm going to take a break for a second and get myself together, get my drinks and everything together. I put the link in the chat. Brother Yash, I put that in your email if you want. And I'm going to put that also in the chat. All right. And so let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into the topic of reparations. And then we're going to get into some passages as well to show how everything is lining up. All right. Shalom and blessings to everybody once again. I got my brother Yash just chiming in. What's going on?
Oh, I don't even know what to say, brother. Shalom, everybody in the chat. Shalom, family. Long day on the plantation, but always ready to chime in.
Thank you, bro. I was just gonna ask you, you must have just got in or something today?
About an hour ago. Just finished up my plate and
okay.
I'm good.
Okay, cool. Let's take a break, man. When we get back, I'm gonna let you deal with the chat some more, warm it up, and then we're gonna open up in a passage. And then we're gonna get into this video. Shalom and blessings, brother Apostle Curtis Lewis, aka SCM Foy. Good to see you in the chat. Got Hadasab Ben Yah. Shalom to you. Good to see you in the chat as well. All right, let's take a break, bro. When we come back, we're gonna get into it. Shalom, y'all. Shalom, shalom. All right, y'all, let's get into it. I got my brother Yash. Y'all know how we do when he chime in, we let it loose. So, brother Yash, just real quick, I want you to just give me your perspective. Like this is an old topic, but just give me your overall perspective on the topic of reparations and how you see reparations.
Okay, but first I want to say I need that beat in my life. That beat was hitting. I'm serious. Y'all had me back here just bugging. But okay, reparations. My perspective is that we all know we deserve it. We should get it. I believe that we're fighting a battle that we know we're not going to win. And we're just really doing it we're actually just doing it for face value. Anyone whom is awakened, we know that the Most High is our reparations and that he's going to bring it to us. He's going to give us our reparations. There's no way, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. However, I still believe it's important to always to fight that battle or put it out there as a testimony against them. You know, some people, you know what I mean? What you say? That's all I believe is as a testimony against them. We just need to put it out there. Some people think that we're really asking them. We're not asking them for nothing. But we need to put it out there always in their face because they cannot give it to us. The scripture says that we are kings and priests unto the Most High. You know, we was ruling the world when the Most High brung us down. So everything that they have belongs to us. There is no monetary value.
Mm.
They must step down. That's what true reparations is, and that's why the Most High is going to give it to us under the Mashiach. But everything comes back to us like it always belonged.
So pretty much reparations as we know it is null and void, pretty much is what you're saying. Although we should keep crying out to fulfill what the word is saying.
Yeah, it's pretty much null and void. I mean, come on. They give uh they gave gays reparations. I don't even know what for. You give the fake the fake used, you give them reparations. You give the Native Americans reparations. You gave the Japanese reparations. You gave everybody reparations. And then when it comes to us, you say we want to do a study on it.
Hmm. Shalom, brother Kadar. I put the link in your email if you get some time. But you know what's funny, man, is ever since I can remember, they have been studying reparations. And so, you get a chance to look into some of the talking points of their quote unquote study of reparations, and you see that they have issues like, who do we give the reparations to? Um, how do we calculate the amount? Uh, what about the black slaves that own? What about the black people, the black freedmen that own slaves? Do they have to pay? So in that case, that means black people will owe reparation. These are just some of the talking points that are brought up whenever you deal with the quote unquote study behind reparations. But what would you see as a easy way of settling it, or do you have anything in mind?
Yeah, just give each of us $1 million. $1 million cash. Give everybody $1 million and let them do with it what you want. Let them do. You don't worry about, because the reason why they're doing the study is they're trying to find a way to get the money to the sellouts, and also for the sellouts to have a way to convince us that we've actually got something out of the deal, when we'll actually get nothing in our hands. And if we do get anything, it'll be so minuscule, that it won't be anything.
I think that's one of the main things they rely on too, is the division between our own people on the issue of reparations. Because when you look at it, you'll have brothers like you and myself, and even, just a lot of our people collectively, who will agree just on the general principle of what our forefathers did, what our ancestors did, the things that they contributed that still to this day are revolutionizing this nation, and you look up and most of our people are uh, not even aware of that, let alone able to even get a job in a particular industry where our people have, invented something. But I think that's one of the main things that they depend on when it comes to this issue, is the division between us. All right. Brother Yash brought up something in the beginning. He said that we should cry out, because when the Most High hears our cries, you know, this causes him to move. Like when you look in ancient Egypt, you know, when he heard the cries of his people, it caused him to move. All right. This is James chapter 5. I want to open up with this because the issue of reparations, like we said, is null and void. However, the issue of us receiving the wealth that the nations stole from us, that's something different. And this is what the Most High is hollowing out. The issue of reparations is just a surface matter when it comes to the real issue behind the reparations. And like Brother Yash said, there is no way that this nation can really pay us back. You know, everything that this nation has accumulated belongs to us. And so just like Egypt was depleted when we left, it's going to be the same way. And this is probably the major, one of the other major setbacks of why this hasn't happened. But he said, go to now. This is James chapter 5. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, your garments are moth-eaten, your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you. All right. So he's talking about the rich men, the people who control all of the riches and the wealth. They have all the gold and all of the things of value stored up. And it says your gold and your silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you. So in other words, what does this imply? If something starts to rust, that means it's just sitting there. All right. Sitting there, not being moved, nothing is happening to it. And this is what's happening to the wealth that they owe us, is just sitting there rusted. They holding it back. Your gold and your silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you. What's the witness? The witness is this rust itself is a witness of you holding back the wealth and just letting it sit there. These people got so much wealth, they don't even know what to do with the wealth that they have, but to just store it up and keep it unto themselves, and that wealth belongs to us. He said it's going to be a witness against them, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. So all of the wealth and everything that has been accumulated is for the last days. So when you look up and you see how other groups are receiving grants and sums of money to operate, and yet our people are crying out for the wealth that's just rusting and sitting there that belongs to us. So they have it, but our people are crying out, and you have those of our people who are opposed to our cries telling us that we want handouts because of the wealth that's owed to us. It says, behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields. That's what all that is. The hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud. Right? Studying reparations, that's fraud. What do you need to study? You can easily say, okay, every Negro who get their blood traced to this portion where we came and got y'all from, we owe you. Or maybe I'll just sound crazy. It says, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields. All right. Then the Most High say we was going to work the fields and the vineyards and everything, plant houses or build houses and plant vineyards. It says, which is of you kept back by fraud, cry it. So the wealth that they holding back, the wealth that they owe us as a people is crying out to the Most High. Innocent blood and the wages of the laborers cry out. Brother Yash, what's that? Where is that written in the law? I think it's in Leviticus where it talk about you are not to hold back the wages of the laborer. You're supposed to pay him before sundown. You know where that is exactly?
Not offhand, but I'm ready to pull it up real quick. I forgot about that. Give me a second.
And this is for all of our people who think that our people wanting reparations and wanting to be paid is a handout.
Yeah,
that's incomplete opposition of the word of the Most High. What is it?
Leviticus 19:13.
Okay.
Thou shalt
read that. Read, Brother Yash.
It says, thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him. The wages of him that is hired shall not abide with thee all night until the morning. Or in other words, you got to pay that man that, because I think of this all the time when I be working too. You got to pay that man that day. According to the Most High, you ain't supposed to be holding it, not even to the end of the week.
Read it again.
Leviticus 19:14. 19:13. Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor. Defraud, which means cheat. Neither rob him. The wages of him that is hired shall not abide with thee all night until the morning.
It says, don't even hold it back all night until the morning. And how long they've been studying reparations?
Yeah, man, when's hog branding time? You know what I mean? That's what I like to say, man. They've been studying reparations. And like you say, let's go backtrack. Why only when it comes to us, our people, the question of reparations becomes a matter of study?
Because that, when you put it like that, that gives them more time to hold it back.
Mm-hmm. And you were speaking about earlier where they rely on the divisions within our people, but the divisions come from these leaders that they put up on a pedestal. Like we don't even know these people. All of a sudden, these people come up from out of nowhere, and all of a sudden, they're our leaders. And then you pay enough of these people like stars. I forget my man's name who does the news. The other one, but you give these people enough money in their life where they're saying, well, I don't even want reparations. Yet you won't say, well, then we'll give them your share.
Right.
You just take that statement that they say and use it as a blanket statement for everyone.
Yeah.
And then you get these like I say, these leaders that they put up and you get them to say, well, what we need is education.
Mm.
The whole country needs education.
Mm.
That's what we have schools for. Or we need free colleges. Yeah, give me my $1 million, I'll pay for my own college.
Right. Or we need programs.
Give me my $1 million, I'll make my own program.
Mm. Or we need you know, more.
Give me my $1 million and I'll make it.
Whatever, huh?
Yeah, whatever. Give me my money. Because what you're trying to say is that we're too stupid to take, if we and I've heard it too, if we're giving a lot of this money in a few days, it'll go back right to the white man. You know what? That's a lie. Because I know our people. They'll take nothing and they'll hustle that money up, and that money stays in the hood. But that just happens to be drug money or whatever. And some people might floss it with the other things. But we have too many other. See, our people always rise to the top. The only reason why the money is going to these designers is because you haven't given our people the money to be able to do it for themselves. Because if our people did it, shoot, everybody becoming an Ebri store. Ebri be the style, or whoever the designer is, because they know, like we know, that when we get a little, you give our people an inch and we take over.
And that's, that's an interesting point, because I've heard that a lot. You give them all that money, and in less than a week it'll be back. And my question is, so what's the problem? What's the problem with that? Especially if you're not one of our people. Why is that a problem? Why is that even your concern?
Look. And if they believed that, see, that's the thing, that's the line that they get our people to tell our people. But if they believe that, they wouldn't have no problem doing a study, because it'll blow their stock market out the roof. Like it'll be just like that Chappelle skit. When we got reparations, Muggs bought up caddies and all this and all that, and they said they said the recession is over. It would be over. So they don't even believe that. They believe, they have more faith in us, in what we'll do with those finances, than we do.
Right. Yep. Let's get some more of this James chapter 5. Then we're going to get into the video. I guess I'm sort of setting a precedent, for what we're about to get into, and how we should look at this issue of reparations. I want to look at this video because it's going to bring out a lot of the points that we just brought up. You're going to see the perspective of our people when they're for reparations and also against it. All right. But James 5, it says, "Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth. So, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of Yahuwah of hosts." So you got the wages crying out, and it says the cries of them which have reaped. All right, so our ancestors, our forefathers and ancestors who came to this country and died and suffered those things, their blood And their spirits is crying out on our behalf right now, on top of what they didn't receive. All of the wealth that was stolen from them, all the land and everything that was stolen from them. The Most High is hearing and seeing all that now. He says, ye have lived in pleasure on the earth and been 1 ton. All right. Brother Yash, what that word mean right there? Let me look that up.
Yeah, that means in need. 1 ton means you've been in need and always wanting.
Let's look at what it mean within the context of this verse, talking about those who have lived in pleasure on earth and been 1 ton, talking about the people who've been holding back the hire of the laborers. Real quick. 1 ton. It means of a cruel or violent action, deliberate and unprovoked. Sheer 1 ton vandalism. Deliberate, willful, malicious, malevolent, spiteful, vicious, wicked, evil, cruel, unprovoked, unmotivated. So it's just like, all right, we just doing it because we can. Arbitrary. No real reason. Right now, they done proved that them holding us back so much has pretty much hurt this nation. They done revealed that. So everything they're doing is deliberate, for no reason, groundless, unjustifiable, unjustified, needless, unnecessary. That's what 1 ton mean. They doing this unnecessarily. If they give every Black person $1 million right now, like Brother Yash said, it would help them. But it's enough of us that'll do something different with that type of money. You know, and that's the game changer. But they so malicious and spiteful that they don't even want that to happen. Right? Senseless, pointless, purposeless, aimless, useless, meaningless, empty, but curious. It makes no sense to hold a whole group of people back when those people are your number 1 consumers and can contribute the most. And this has been proven throughout history. Everywhere our people went, they brought the economy up. Everywhere. It's the only nation where we came to and they just completely cut all that off, separate us from our families, and treat us like animals. 1 ton. That sounds like a Chinese word, like
1 ton soup.
1 ton soup or something. Hold on. What I want? Give me a second. So let's pull it back up. It says, ye have lived in pleasure on the earth and been 1 ton. All right. Ye have nourished your hearts as in the day of slaughter. Ye have condemned and killed the just, and he does not resist you. Next time somebody tell you, no, I ain't gonna say that. I ain't gonna even say that. But I will say this. Anybody who says white men statistically get shot more by cops than Black men, just punch them in the stomach or something. I ain't gonna even say what I want to say.
Yo, I had a white dude, he brung that up to me. And I told him, that's because y'all let him. I said, it's more of y'all than it's of us. Yet, when they shoot y'all don't say nothing because you don't want us to say anything when they shoot us. I said, but see, we ain't having that. Our people, we don't play that. We will fight you over that. I said, but y'all people, y'all let them shoot y'all and do anything y'all want, and y'all don't say anything just so y'all can say, why are we complaining when they shoot us?
Well, the other side of that too is if you want to look at statistically, how many of these white men are armed?
All of them. And look, enough of them that see, they know that we have laws. They know that there's a chance that most of us are unarmed in the areas where they go, that we are armed. They know we're armed there, and they rarely go there. They go there after it happened. And they do.
Yeah, they ain't trying.
Let's be real.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And so ye have condemned and killed the just, and he does not resist you. I've seen so many videos where it's black dudes just like, man, I ain't got nothing. Why you doing this? Why you know? And you feel it needful to use that level of force with no resistance, yet you say he resisting arrest. That's my questioning. What did I do?
And not only that, they use that resisting arrest to arrest you. What's the crime? He resisting arrest. Well, what for? That's why I used to beat him to the punch. They used to say, if you want to know my name, arrest me, and then I'll tell you my name.
Surya said he haven't seen no evidence of them getting shot more. But yet you hear that talking point a lot. And my thing is too, also, if that's the case, why are black men being highlighted in the media? Why are the black men that's getting shot being highlighted when white men are getting shot statistically more? That's because they don't want y'all to see the shootout. I saw a video like that where believe it or not, I'm gonna try to pull it up, man, and show it. But this dude was actually in a shootout with the cops in his own front yard. He behind a truck, he was sitting behind a car, he had a shotgun, he was shooting at the cops. And once they hit him, he like tapped out, like, okay, I'm done.
Oh yeah.
So how
So
you
they
just
take him alive?
How you get the tap out of a shootout, man? It ain't over until you But I'm done. He just laid his gun down. That was it.
Yeah, they wonton towards us, and he gets wonton soup.
Yeah, still got a whole artillery in his house for the cops. He said, I'm done. I'm done. Look, they shooting back and forth, right? And so the cops shoot, you just hear a pow, you just hear him just cuss it. Oh, he said, I'm done. Like, nah, man, you don't get to tap out of a shootout.
Yeah, but they let him. That's what's so sad.
He says, be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of Yahuwah. Behold, the husbandman waited for the precious fruit of the earth and had long patience for it until he received the early and latter rain. Be ye also patient, establish your hearts, for the coming of Adonai draweth nigh. Grudge not one against another, brethren, lest ye be condemned. Behold, the judge standeth before the door. That's why I'm questioning, is it even worth it debating people anymore? Because this is sort of what it creates. It creates grudges. indifference. So I'm kind of pushing toward this stand in the lane that the Most High put me in. Whoever disagrees, is within their right to, but grudge not one against another, brethren, lest we be condemned. Behold, the judge standing before the door. So in a little while, brothers and sisters, the Most High said he gonna get it all straight. So let's get into this video here. Oh, let me do the right thing. Hold on one second. Before we get into the video, this is a Fair Use Act disclaimer. All right. Fair use. This site is for educational purposes only. Fair use. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All right. So on that note, let's get into the video here. This is let me get the title of this. It's titled Reparations Full Measure. All right. Here we go.
Today, we begin with an examination of the movement to provide reparations to Black Americans over their ancestors' slave status. Demands are growing. It's raising difficult questions about a dark side of America's past and whether, going on 2 centuries later, people who never met a slave should be paid by people who never owned any. And if so, how much is enough to atone for the unthinkable?
So you see, they kind of set the precedent for you off the top, the driving issue of reparations, and should anyone who never even met a slave be paid reparations. All right.
When Melisande Short Colomb walks the campus at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C., she sees a troubling history and the fruits of her ancestors' slave labor. How did you learn that information?
I got that information that I was part of the descendant families in July of 2016. I was contacted by Judy Rifle, who is the lead genealogist for the Georgetown Memory Project, which was started by Georgetown alum Richard Cellini for the sole purpose of identifying descendants of those families who were trafficked in 1838.
Students with ADHD save 10.
Going on 2 centuries ago, 2 Catholic Society of Jesus, or Jesuit priests, sold 272 slaves at auction for what amounts to about $3.3 million in today's value. Slave labor and profits from slave sales helped the Jesuits finance churches, schools, and America's first Catholic college, which became Georgetown University.
So we see that from the wealth accumulated from slavery, they were able to build institutions and schools and Georgetown University, right? And honestly, I wasn't even aware of that until I saw this documentary that Georgetown University was built by, established rather, off of the backs of wealth accumulated by our ancestors being slaves. All right. So just something to keep in mind, you if you wanna chime in, brother Yash, you can at any time, bro.
Yeah, but go ahead right there. Go ahead.
All right. You want to say something?
Oh, no.
Okay, I'm gonna play it back.
Now, the Jesuits have launched the largest effort of its kind to make amends and provide equity to descendants like Short Cologne, whose great 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 grandparents were among the slaves. So, how do you apply equity? It's just a huge job what you're talking about.
Right. Maybe you should ask yourself and your peers that, because you are inheritors of this as well. So I don't have those answers. I am being an active participant in what makes America better, while there are active participants who are opposed to that.
How you feel about that response?
I feel that it was right on, but I want to go back. Sister Sarah Yabat, I'm saying it all wrong. Sarah Yashara. She brought up the point of, she said, the unthinkable. She said, why? She said, atone for the unthinkable. She said, why can't she say the word slavery? And slavery is not the unthinkable. And I put it there in the comments. I wanted her to know the reason why they say the unthinkable is because deep down they know who we are. So the unthinkable part is actually realizing that they have enslaved the true children of Israel. That's why they fight over it. It's unthinkable to them. Don't even let that thought come in your mind. That's what that's about.
Well, I think when we think of slavery, particularly now, they don't really factor that in. So they don't think that the systematic form of racism is equal to what their forefathers did. Hold on one sec. Hold on. Yeah, they don't feel that because they don't own plantations and they not whipping people, and you're not picking no cotton, then that's the unthinkable. But what she's telling her is that you're a beneficiary of all of that. Why is it such an issue or a hard thing to figure out? Y'all figure that out. Y'all benefiting from the wealth that that came from what our people did. And now you're asking me, how you going to pay me back, or how you going to work it out, to pay me back. That's up to you. I like that response, though. I'm gonna run it back.
Equity. It's just a huge job what you're talking about.
Right. Maybe you should ask yourself and your peers that, because you are inheritors of this as well. So I don't have those answers. I am being an active participant in what makes America better, while there are active participants who are opposed to that. So I can't be okay if there are still people out there who want to see me oppressed and deprived of my rights to vote, to freedom, to liberty. And it is saying that these people can have nice things and those people can't.
It's obvious that the wealth that's been held back is detrimental, you know, and it's life changing, especially when you look at land ownership and the wealth that can be accumulated from just that alone, and how most of the land, or pretty much all of the land that was owned by a lot of our people, was either taken or stolen from them, or they were ran off from the land. And so just that aspect alone was detrimental. And so to deny that aspect of it, to me, like the scripture described it, you know, is just ruthless and selfish, you know, and senseless. But let's continue.
Jesuits began reckoning with their past a few years ago when confronted with protests by Georgetown University students. Jesuit leader Timothy Kasicki.
In 2017, around Emancipation Day in Washington, D.C., there was an event at Georgetown in which, amongst other things, I apologized for the Jesuits' history of slaveholding.
Today, the Society of Jesus, who helped to establish Georgetown University and whose leaders enslaved and mercilessly sold your ancestors, stands before you to say that we have greatly sinned. We are profoundly sorry.
And some might ask, what does an apology do? And I think first and foremost, it's a recognition that this happened, that we did this. And
Go ahead and chime in, Brother Yash.
Apology. See, and that's where they get off. See, they do that apology thing because that's that way of that's the Christian way of atoning. No reparations, just saying I'm sorry. And in this case, it definitely won't happen again because those times is over now. We expect you to forgive us. You know what I mean? No. But that's what that is. That's the typical Christian response.
So he said, I'm gonna let the apology play one more time because he first talked about, you know, the event and the apology that he gave, but I'm gonna let it play one more time and then I'm gonna give some thoughts on it. Hold on one second.
Please.
I apologized for the Jesuits' history of slaveholding.
Today, the Society of Jesus, who helped to establish Georgetown University and whose leaders enslaved and mercilessly sold your ancestors, stands before you to say that we have greatly sinned. We are profoundly sorry.
And some might ask, what does an apology do? And I think first and foremost, it's a recognition that this happened, that we did this, and that it was wrong. But I think that that act of apologizing, of admission, and contrition can lay the ground for a fruitful partnership.
Did you see that look he made when he said, "We are so sorry"? What did he say? We are profoundly sorry. He put like some shoulder into it, you know, like he was like a sad dog or something. But let me see. Let me get something here. Hold on.
Yeah, and why you doing that? It's like, well, if y'all so sorry, why don't you say, and because of that, Georgetown University has decided to allow all, qualifying people of African descent who was enslaved to attend our colleges for free forever.
Well, he gonna get into that. He said, he said, some people might say, what does an apology do? Well, an apology, it lays the groundwork. It helps you acknowledge, right? But the word of God already tells you that they acknowledge what they do. They've already acknowledged it. Let me show you. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2. See, when you do something spitefully and on purpose, you can't later on acknowledge it, especially when you've already acknowledged it from the jump. That's the purpose of why you're doing it. You know, you want to misuse somebody and you set out to do that. That's your purpose that you set out to do, to misuse a person, right? You've already acknowledged that. It says, for the ungodly said, reasoning within themselves, but not aright. Our life is short and tedious, and in the death of a man there is no remedy. Neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave. We are born at all adventure, and we shall be hereafter as though we had never been. For the breath in our nostrils is as smoke, and a little spark in the moving of our heart. All right, so long story short, this is what it says the ungodly are saying in their hearts, but not aright. Long story short, we only live once. Let's live it up. Let's do everything in our heart to do. Let's feel good, So let's skip down. It says, come on, therefore, and let us enjoy the good things that are present, and let us speedily use the creatures like as in the youth. Let us fill ourselves with costly wine and ointments, and let no flower of the spring pass us by. All right. Let no flower of the spring pass us by. Basically, don't let no woman get past you. Right? That's another way of saying that. It says, let us crown ourselves with rosebuds before they be withered. Let none of us go without his part of our voluptuousness. Let us leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place. What that sound like? For this is our portion, and our lot is this. What you say, bro?
I was in rape, robbing, and pillaging.
Let us leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place. Let's white out everybody. Watch this. Let us oppress the poor righteous men. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the age. Let our strength be the Torah of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. Therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn, and he is clean contrary to our doings. He upbraided us with our offending the Torah, and object to our infamy the transgressions of our education. We want our money, and they always want to give us education. But it says that we object he's objecting to our infamy, the transgressions of our education. So what good is their education? Right? Even if they let us go for free. But they say every time it comes to us, we want to give them education, you know, we want to give them programs. And all that is just money being funneled back into them, because they're the ones who are going to build these programs and establish them and oversee these programs. But it's all in transgression. It said he professed to have the knowledge of Elohim, and he calleth himself the child of Yahweh. He was made to reprove our thoughts. He is grievous unto us even to behold, for his life is not like other men's. His ways are of another fashion. We are esteemed of him as counterfeits. All right. So that's why every time you go to them, they want to give you education. We esteemed of them as counterfeits. He abstained from our ways as from filthiness. He pronounceth the end of the just to be blessed, and maketh his boast that Yahuwah is his father. So they acknowledge what they do. They know what they're doing. But when it comes time to pay, they want to give you education. They want to have you following after their transgressions. It says that he is clean contrary to our doings. He upbraided us with our offending the law. Everything they do is an offense to the Most High. But they want to give it to you for reparations. Let's go back. He said, education, the transgression of our education. Look at how serious that dude look, man. He for real. Watch this.
For the Jesuits' history of slaveholding.
Today, the Society of Jesus, who helped to establish Georgetown University and whose leaders enslaved and mercilessly sold your ancestors, stands before you to say that we have greatly sinned. We are profoundly sorry.
And some might ask, what does an apology do? And I think first and foremost, it's a recognition that this happened, that we did this, and that it was wrong. But I think that that act of apologizing, of admission, and contrition can lay the ground for a fruitful partnership.
The partnership included consultations with 3 slave descendant groups.
What I will say to you, Cheryl, is we are excited about this opportunity.
Joseph Stewart is working on the project with the Jesuits.
It's time we put this dehumanizing legacy behind us and put justice, equality, love, self-respect, and human dignity in front of us, in our future. And that's our goal, to impact the future, not to relive the past.
I have a rule I live by, and this is no offense to anybody, but whenever you see a grown black man who has the potential to have any kind of facial hair and he don't trust him. I know that sounds crazy, but that's proof right there. My first question when I saw this was, dude, where is your mustache, bro?
Not only that, did you peep his Maybelline eyebrows?
Those potato wedges.
For real, for real.
But that's an example of the opposition. All right. And I won't go any further into all that because these are elders among our people. So I want to be respectful, but at the same time, you know, how do we benefit with people like that representing us? Or what benefit is there? Is there anybody in the chat who is opposed to our people getting reparations? And not that it's going to happen. It's just, you know, should our people be compensated and reparated for everything that our forefathers and ancestors did? And keep in mind spiritual law, you know, how there's another scripture when it tells you that whenever a man works for you, you ought to pay him his wages. And so just by spiritual principle alone, you know, you ought to be paid for your labor. So, but that, like I said, that was an example of our own people being in opposition to something like this, something that could better our people, you know. But you got any thoughts, bro?
Now, because that goes back to what I was saying in the beginning. They always find some of the bootlicks of our people, and it's always it's usually the elders and who are well off, whom have benefited from this system, or even tend to benefit. You notice he said it's a partnership.
Yeah.
You know, not a partnership with our people or the nation of our people, but you got a partnership with a certain group of our people that they'll benefit, and maybe their children will benefit, but it's not benefiting the nation as a whole.
And so, like I said, it's one of those like how we read in James, the hire of the laborers, which you kept back by fraud. You know, these people who you making deals with, you know, they're descendants, but they're not the only ones who should be benefiting, you know, from these types of things. But they use those token people, you know, to pretty much be gatekeepers and to hold everybody else back. Let's get some more.
Truth and Reconciliation Foundation. It will offer reparations ranging from education opportunities to elderly care. So far, Kaseki says the Jesuits have put $15 million into a trust and will raise $100 million more over the next few years. So reparations in the context of what we're talking about today means moving forward with healing and opportunities and education rather than paying cash to the descendants?
That is correct. With descendant leaders, they were very clear. We want you to make a bold investment in something forward. There is no price. They said to me, there's no price we can put on what you did in the past, but we expect you, using your largesse, to invest in the future.
In many American cities and states, there's growing talk of providing reparations with no single vision of the form it should take. Evanston, Illinois is using money from a sales tax on marijuana to give some Black residents who experienced housing discrimination $25,000 in housing assistance. In California, a task force made up of slaves' descendants is in a 2-year process to propose reparations. Other recent efforts include scholarships from Catholic nuns for Black students in Louisiana, a $27 million plan at Princeton University, $1.7 million from the Virginia Theological Seminary, $1.1 million from an Episcopal diocese in New York, and $13 million from another in Texas. But there's formidable opposition to the new efforts, and some of it comes from the very people who would benefit from reparations.
I really think that it's white guilt, and what they're demanding is extortion money.
Robert Woodson led civil rights demonstrations.
So he's saying that the money that our people are asking for reparations is extortion money. In other words, we're extorting white people through their own white guilt.
Well, he has a right to say that in a sense, because that's what them brothers did. They was like, F everybody else, give us something. We can't put a price on it for everybody, while at the same time putting a price on it for them. But it also allows them to critique the nation as a whole, saying we're trying to extort them. Everything is done with forethought with these people. They what they say, they lie down on their bed thinking about ways to do wickedness. And that's what it was. That's what I'm looking at. I'm ready to stomp somebody. Let me hold on.
I saw that little combination you put in the chat, man. That'll have somebody going from one side of the room to the other, boy. That punch combo you put in the chat.
Demonstrations in the 60s.
Now run that.
People who would benefit from reparations.
I really think that it's white guilt, and what they're demanding is extortion money.
Robert Woodson led civil rights demonstrations in the 60s.
So he's speaking on behalf of white people too. He's saying it's white guilt, and we're demanding extortion money. You know, the only way you can extort somebody is if you have any kind of real power.
And you know, the sad part is these are guys who came up in the 60s and fought that 60 battle.
Yeah.
And once they got theirs, I think it was a movie, I'm Gonna Get You Sucker.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
when my man was doing a protester, and they went down to protest the government building. He said, but what they didn't know was the government was hiring that day. And all the black people got jobs and they weren't mad anymore. We looking at the guys, you know, there was truth in that. But we're looking at the guys who got paid off. All that anger was gone. They got positions in government and this and that, as long as they played ball. And the rest of us get left behind.
Yeah. And that's what the dude was like. He was like, man, help the people. Let's get some more.
Today, he heads a group that helps poor, high-crime neighborhoods devise their own recoveries. And he's an outspoken critic of reparations. If you could briefly define reparations, what is that to you?
Reparations is supposed to be some material compensation for slavery. And back in the 60s, we were talking about the clenched fist, black power, and self-determination. Today, we have devolved to Black Lives Matter with the hand out, asking for compensation. So I just think reparations is really a distraction. It deflects attention away from the real challenges facing the Black community and the country.
I think that's sort of a cop-out as well, using, for instance, the real issues with Black people. You know, reparations is stopping us from solving our real issues, right? What you was finna say, Brother Yash? I'm gonna pull up something real quick.
Nah, the real issue is money. What are you talking about?
So you know what I'm finna, you know where I'm finna go, right?
Nah, but go there.
Okay.
I'm like watching our people do this, you know, watching this, because he confirmed everything I said. He brought it back in the 60s. You fought the battle. You got your old buddy job, and now you ain't mad no more, but we still left. I'm done. I see one of them people, man. Lord help.
It's not even about a job, man. This is Ecclesiastes 10 and 19. It says, a feast is made for laughter, and wine maketh merry, but money answereth all things. All right. Now, just saying that money is your God, no. However, when you dealing in life, most of the issues you deal with, especially now, you know, most of the things we face and deal with are monetary. And so money answers all things. Think about the criminals, you know, the high level criminals. When they do things in order to keep their names clear, what do they use? They use money. They pay the right people to do the right thing so that they can be in the clear. You take an average person who is struggling day to day. All it takes is for the Most High to move and do something in an instant. That person's life is changed. And it's all because of this, but you have people who denying this and telling you to put your fist up. You know, Black power and what else he said? Black dignity or something like that, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not against any of that, but we need this too. And you denying this, like Brother Yah said, you denying this on the rest of our behalf to gain it for yourself, just to stand in that position and be heard. But even the Bible tells us that money serves some importance. But these are the people we have representing us. I'm gonna run it back. You know, like I said, I don't want to be disrespectful, but I feel like Brother Yash feel at the same time. You know, because this is the same brother or elder gentleman you probably will never see him in your neighborhood. You know, he probably lives in a side of town where he can be as far away from you as possible. Yet he's representing you, you know. But let's get some more.
An outspoken critic of reparations. If you could briefly define reparations, what is that to you?
Reparations is supposed to be some material compensation for slavery. Back in the 60s, we were talking about the clenched fist, Black power and self-determination. Today, we have devolved to Black Lives Matter with the hand out, asking for compensation.
And since when did Black Lives Matter become the the driving force for reparations.
Look at the smile. Look at the smirk on his face. Like,
Yeah.
haven't I done a good job for you, master? Look at his face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he said something wise.
Black Lives Matter. And, you know, Black Lives Matter got their money. You know, they got their money and they paid off the people who they paid off. And now you have people complaining about the money that they got and the people who use that money to line their own pockets with, just like they did the first time. So Black Lives Matter is not a driving force for reparations, but this is just another a talking point or a means of making light of the issue. You know, let's get some more.
So I just think reparations is really a distraction. It deflects attention away from the real challenges facing the Black community and the country.
Woodson raises questions about reparations for which he says there are no good answers. How does one settle on an amount? Who exactly gets it? How would the millions of biracial families factor in?
The very fact that there were thousands.
Now, it's funny because that's the same question that the white woman asked the lady in the beginning. And you saw her response, but he's posing the same question that the white woman posed.
Of freed Blacks who owned slaves. There were Native Americans, these 5 civilized tribes. There were 5,000 slaves when they were on that Trail of Tears. They took with them thousands of African slaves. Now, do the offsprings or the families of those Indians who own slaves, do they pay?
So he said that there were Black freedmen who owned slaves, right? So my answer to that would be give both of them reparations. Didn't they give the white slave owners reparations?
Mm-hmm. Hey, not only that, hey, what about the half, the the mixed kids? Give them half. I don't care. Keep it simple. Give them half.
These are not hard questions. These are just questions that whenever they say they need to study, these are the questions that sort of fuel the quote unquote study and put the actual process on hold of delivering. All right. Now, you have white people who will admit or agree that Blacks receive reparations. Not many, but you have enough that will agree to it. But like I said, this is just an example of the opposition between our own people on an issue dealing with our own people. All right. And I'm sort of even sad that this is a brother, man, because like you said, these are the people that they use as the gatekeepers to represent us. None of us even know this dude, but he's one of the high level quote unquote Negroes that oppose the issue of reparations or us being reparated or repaired. All right, let's get some more.
How about the descendants of the free Blacks that own slaves? Do they pay? Here again, what is the purpose? Is it to punish white people for the sins of the past? Are we seeking cosmic justice? I think we have to be clear as to what is the purpose of it.
There might be people who say, you could be right, this may not be helpful, but if it doesn't hurt, what's the harm?
Well, the harm is it really
Now I want y'all to notice his response. All right. The question she asked was, if it's not going to hurt, then what's the harm? You know, he made, in other words, you have a point, but if it's not going to hurt to give the reparations, then what's the harm? And watch this man make up an excuse. Watch how he has to stop and take a pause and think of an excuse that's not going to have anything to do with the actual money aspect or them owing us the money aspect. All right, I'm gonna run it back a little bit.
Purpose of it.
There might be people who say, you could be right, this may not be helpful, but if it doesn't hurt, what's the harm?
Well, the harm is it really presents the critical problem as somehow being external. The problems that Black America faces is external, and that white people have the power to change it if we can make them guilty enough.
Do you see how long he had to sit there and think of a response?
Not only that, she was like, if you seen when he was caught up in his pause, she was kind of like cheering him. She gave him like a, come on, man, give me something.
But he had to pause to come up with a response. But then just the question itself, you know, if it's not going to hurt, then what's the harm of giving these people money? He went to a whole nother issue. He's saying that the harm is them somehow making our issues external, right? When a lot of our internal issues has to do with what's been withheld from us, starting back even from slavery days, all the land that our people had that was taken from them.
Shoot, them bombs that landed on Black Wall Street, they was external.
And so all of this is really, like you said, just a way to placate to the enemy and to make sure that at the end of the day, he can keep his bread buttered.
Hey, look, the place where he sat, almost guaranteed that ain't her property. That's his yard. She at his house. Look at how he living.
Yeah, that ain't that's not up the street nowhere, man. That's, you know, you have to probably get into a gate to get into where he lived. You know, and if people live that way, you know, more power to you, you know, especially if you done it by the grace of the Most High, you know, nothing wrong with that. But then this brother is blatantly denying the truth that his people are oppressed. You know, if he come from that 60s movement, then he should understand the oppression of our people, because that's one of the things Dr. King spoke on before he got assassinated, was going to get a check.
Yeah,
so
he sound like he been laying next to a white woman all his life. That's not even him talking. And I don't even know who he is.
Exactly. Let's get some more.
That's a complicated, confusing, self-destructive message to send to young people, that somehow all of the problems that they face, underemployment, out of wedlock births, drug addiction, babies being shot to death, that all of those problems are within the control of white America to change.
Now, name one thing he named that doesn't connect some kind of way to the lack of wealth or the wealth that they've been withholding from our people. I'm running back.
They face, that's a complicated, confusing, self-destructive message to send to young people, that somehow all of the problems that they face, underemployment, out of wedlock births, drug addiction, babies being shot to death, that all of those problems are within the control of white America to change.
Underemployment, out of wedlock births, babies being shot, drug addiction, right? The underemployment is due to the lack of access to wealth. The underemployment is due to the fact that we have to outsource to go get jobs. Most so-called Negro people, if they don't have a business of their own, and nowadays more of that is going on. But that's what you have to do, you know. Out of wedlock births is due to the lack of wealth in the families. This is why the welfare reform movement, all of that is really wealth that they could use to help subsidize families and build families, but they use it to divide up families. So that's a wealth issue. The murder rate, all right? If it wasn't for the lack of wealth in the Black community, Black men wouldn't have access, or would, I ain't gonna say have access, but you wouldn't have as much or as many of our people selling drugs and doing things to make money in that means, and not to justify it. But when you cut off the means of wealth to a people, that forces them to have to create means of gaining wealth. I remember one of my favorite used to be rappers. He had an album, and on one of his songs, he mentioned how growing up in the hood, it was a lot of dope, a lot of pimps and stuff like that. And he said that the drugs kept the hood from starving. So what does that tell you? That tells you that there was a point where a lot of people sold dope and drugs to have to survive because there weren't any jobs, or the jobs that they had didn't really fulfill the needs that they had. The communities were run down. So all of that is a wealth issue. And yes, our enemies play a part in that. You want to chime in, bro?
Yeah, 'cause I was thinking about a time. I grew up in a time when we used to have, back in the 80s and stuff. Early 80s. I must have caught the end of it, about a good 2 years of it. 70s. We used to have summer jobs that they fought for. And you got the jobs, you had to get a work permit through the school, and you got jobs that worked over the summer, which most of the people who did these summer jobs, we wind up buying our own school clothes. And that alleviated a lot of pressure off of the parents for having to buy us even school clothes. And when Reagan came in the early 80s, that's when they started cutting all those programs out. So, but what he's doing is turning an issue of money and finances into an issue of, he's trying to say that we're looking to the white man to solve our problems. No, we just want our money. We just want a break, because it was a system that tore down everything that we used to build ourselves up. We had black men. They used to run numbers. What they do, lock all them up, and then they took over the numbers game, which is called the picket today. Pick six, that's the lottery. So every way that we tried to lift ourselves up, it was the system or government that found a way to make it illegal. Even you brought up about some assistance for your family. They even made having children a crime. You have children, but you can't get a job. But before you get a chance, because it takes a long time, before you get a chance to even get that, they'll lock you up saying you can't even support your own children. Everything is systemic, while this guy is over here diverting attention from the system, and he's trying to blame it on the people. The Indians had slaves because they was trying to get on the good side of the massa.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So everything is systemic here. And he's trying to take a systemic problem run by white men and turn it into an individual problem. You know, or blame the victim. He said he was using Fox talking points.
Yeah. Those are the same talking points that everybody used who oppose our people being reparated. So it's nothing new, you know, and it's not even what they're saying it is. You know, number one, how can you lift yourself up in a system that has pretty much done what Psalms 83 said? They cause you not to be a people, you know? So all of these are just talking points to keep you from standing strong on the issue and to really keep you from crying out, have you standing in your own black pride and all that nonsense, which none of that means nothing, man. You know, all of that just leads you back to more bondage and more idolatry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we gods and all that Egyptian stuff, and don't even realize that kingdom had our people in bondage.
Mm-hmm.
Most High destroyed them for the same reason he finna destroy this kingdom for.
Mm-hmm.
Yet these are our brothers. These are our wise men. Brother Yah say he living out there in a tropical forest somewhere. And all that's his. But where we living, you know? Let's get some more.
That's the danger of the message.
You might not have heard as much about them, but billions of dollars in reparations have been paid throughout American history. In 1848, a freed Black woman named Henrietta Wood was working as a housekeeper when a white man kidnapped her back into slavery. Freed again after the Civil War, she sued for damages and wages and won an award from an all-white jury. Since then, federal and local tax money has been given for Black scholarships, cash payments, and community development. In 1971, Alaska Native Americans received $1 billion and 44 million acres of land. And in 1988, American taxpayers gave $1.2 billion, $20,000 per person, to 60,000 living Japanese Americans who'd been held in detention camps during World War II. Whether there will ever be one big national settlement for slavery remains to be seen. A congressional proposal to study a federal reparations program hasn't gone anywhere since April. But the debate is stirring long-standing resentments and even dividing civil rights allies.
Where in the world does anybody identify someone as their victimizer who knocks them down, and they demand that the victimizer come and lift them up? If somebody does, they ought to take you to a mental institution. The victimizer might have knocked you down, but the victim has to get up. And it also prevents Black America from addressing the enemy within. The Black on Black murder rate that is occurring, white people can do nothing about that. That is an internal enemy that must be addressed internal to the Black community. So what I'm recommending, there be a 1-year moratorium on talking about white people at all. Just stop talking about white people for 1 year and come together within the Black community and talk about what we can do to address the enemy within.
It doesn't make
Addressing the enemy within. Go ahead, Brother Yash.
No, I yelled out when he said that. He's the enemy. You know what I mean? He made me cuss over here. I can't listen to stupidity. Like you remember how you said, Brother E, when them Christian pastors was up there talking, you said I just kind of tuned them out, man.
Yeah.
I mean, this dude is like, he's the worst. He's the enemy. He said addressing the enemy within. He says the Black murder rate. Well, first, where did we get all these guns from? If we don't have the jobs, the money to pay for them, because they're expensive. You know, the enemy within is we're within the enemy. That's the problem.
But what they got to do with my money though? Like
really?
Sorry, Yahoo bot Yashrael said, what they got to do with my bread, man? Like,
exactly.
You know, that go back to what you were saying. You know, you mixing up two issues. You know,
he sounds like a Fox News correspondent. Like he's interviewing to get in some appearances on Fox. Yes, he is.
On and a little too late for that. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. But bootlicks, man, they just can't stop bootlicking.
Look, he said we need to all get together, right, by ourselves and discuss the enemy within, right?
Right.
And I would say this brother you do not want to be with Brother Yash by ourselves.
No, he don't. Look at his property. And you're gonna invite me over there and talk to me about that? I'll educate a old man like that. I'll educate him. Or I'll get Brother Calvin if he's still in there, because Brother Calvin's up in that age bracket group. Brother, get a brother like Brother Calvin up there. Get somebody. We got a lot of old head.
Yeah, Brother Donovan.
Yeah, we got some old heads up in here that will educated will put them down.
It says it's okay to say Sarah. Okay, absolutely, just Sarah. But yeah, we got Brother Donovan, and he cooking over there too. So
yeah, he cooking.
No, I don't think you want to be alone with these brothers trying to talk about who the enemy within.
Nah, because we'll come out quick. That meeting will be over in 5 minutes. We'll say the enemy within is gone. Now let's go get our money.
Right, give us our money now. We ain't got nobody saying about the black on black crime. What about white on white crime?
Exact. See, they never mentioned that. Asian on Asian crime.
You know, what does that have to do with anything?
Listen, I tell you, because you give enough people, you give enough of our people that money, there ain't gonna be no crime for a minute. For a minute,
Won't be
there ain't gonna be none. Except, yeah, it'll be some crime. Them coming over there trying to rob us. Then we'll see who the real criminals are.
You know how many barbecues it's gonna be?
Oh man.
Cookouts.
Oh man. Everybody will be laced out and everything.
And you'll think the whole nation is barbecuing.
For real.
Let's get some more, man. This guy is he's
the worst. He's interesting. He's the worst. But go ahead.
Has to get up. And it also prevents Black America from addressing the enemy within. The black on black murder rate that is occurring, white people can do nothing about that. That is an internal enemy that must be addressed internal to the Black community. So what I'm recommending, there be a 1-year moratorium on talking about white people at all. Just stop talking about white people for 1 year and come together within the Black community and talk about what we can do to address the enemy within.
It doesn't make things right.
No.
It doesn't mean things are forgiven.
No.
What does it do?
Georgetown has stepped up in a leadership position. I expect them to use all the expertise that they have at their fingertips and in their students and their alumni and connections in the world to figure that out.
One economist from Duke University has estimated that a comprehensive reparations program would cost the federal government and taxpayers at least $11 trillion.
If you want to eat healthy and feel your best.
What you think, bro?
First off, it's a 11. I mean, it's they say it's what they said it was about 500 trillion, but they rounded it off to 100. I think about 100 or 120 trillion because they just knew that wouldn't be met. But okay, she says Georgetown has the expertise. Yeah, because they enslaved us. And you expect them to figure it out? We done already figured it out. There's nothing to figure. Give us our bread and let us leave. Nothing to figure out. It ain't that hard. You don't need a college education to figure out, okay, you done paid everybody else. You pay Israel money, and you pay the Israelis money, the state of Israel money. Yeah, it's a good start. 11 trillion, Donovan said. It's a good start. But you pay the state of Israel money, yet you can't give your own citizens who built your nation money.
Mm.
You know?
And I know it all goes back to the curse, the Most High, like Romans 9 said, he's what it said, he's enduring with much long suffering the vessels of dishonor. But let me see, I got a passage here. Let me see. This Enoch, it says, woe to you with storehouses of silver and gold in unrighteousness, and say, we have become rich with the riches and have substance and have stored up everything we desired. And now let us do what we purposed. All right, so let us do what we purposed. The man blatantly said, you know, our reparations is healing and apologies and coming together, you know, and working together, you know, building programs. This is what they purpose to do, to keep all the wealth to themselves and to educate us. It says, we have stored up silver and our storehouses are full as unto many waters. That's how much they got. It says, in our stone and earthen houses, yea, and like water, your lies shall melt away, for your riches shall not abide, but speedily ascend from you. For ye have acquired it all in wickedness, and ye shall become a great curse. All right. This is what the Most High said about reparations. In other words, everything that they stored up, like the Bible said, all the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the just. And so we're gonna break off real quick and come back and close out. You want to add something, Brother Yash? You got to, man. I mean, it's...
I got to?
Yeah.
This is my answer to him. Job 18:2. I'm going to read a few verses before we take this break. How long will it be ere ye make an ends of words? Mark, and afterwards we will speak. Wherefore are we counted as beasts and reputed vile in your sight? This is Job chapter 18. He teareth himself in his anger. Shall the earth be forsaken for thee? And shall the rock be removed out of his place? Yea, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. The light shall be dark in his tabernacle, and his candle shall be put out with him. The steps of his strength shall be straightened, and his own counsel shall cast him down. For he is cast into a net by his own feet, and walketh upon a snare. The gin shall take him by the heel, and the robber shall prevail against him. The snare is laid for him in the ground, and the trap for him in the way. Terror shall make him afraid on every side, and shall drive him to his feet, and his strength shall be hunger bitten, and destruction shall be ready at his side. Listen, he says, let's take a moratorium on white people for a year. It says, it shall devour the strength of his skin. Even the firstborn of death shall devour his strength. His confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and it shall bring him to the king of terrors. It shall dwell in his tabernacle, because it is none of his. Brimstone shall be scattered upon his habitation. His roots shall be dried up beneath, and above his branch shall be cut off. His remembrance shall perish from the earth, and he shall have no name in the street. He shall be driven from light into darkness and chased out of the world. He shall have neither son nor nephew among his people, nor any remain in his dwellings. And they that come after him shall be astonished at his day, as they that went before were affrighted. Surely such are the dwellings of the wicked, and this is the place of him that knoweth not the Most High. See, this is what we're trying to prevent y'all from happening to you with this reparations. We're not asking for reparations only for ourselves. This is for y'all. This is for them. Because their light's going to be put out.
Yeah. I mean, it's really a declaration because the Most High said it's going to happen. You know? So, yeah, that's tough. What's that, Job 18?
Job chapter 18.
Ooh-wee. That's tough, man.
I had to give him something tough because I'm feeling some kind of way when I hear our people, when I hear they, how they like to always cherry pick these coons out the bunch and use them as a reason not to hold off. You know, it's always that one. You know, if you don't want it, give me your share. I'll take your share. We got plenty who say they don't want it. We should make them. Here's an answer. For all those who don't want reparations, let them sign it, say we don't want it, and then their share will be divvied up among the rest.
Oh, wow. Man. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. Y'all don't want it? Listen, I bet you see that number grow shrink real quick.
Man. Be jumping over on the side quick then.
Real quick.
But they on record, so.
You on record.
These people are on record denying what the Most High said we are owed. I'm going to put it like that. Take the pressure off myself, you know. The book of James tells you that the wages of the laborers, the hire of the laborers, cry it. But, hey, let's take a break, man. When we come back, we're going to close out. I want to thank all you brothers and sisters for vibing out with us tonight. Shalom and blessings once again. I'll be right back. Oh, before we go to break, I don't know about Kingdom Conversations this week. I think Brother Cleo may still go live this week. But we were trying to kind of lay low on the channel, Salt of the Earth channel, so that everybody could digest the supersessionisms. Part 1 was aired this past Sunday, and part 2 will be coming up this Sunday. All right, so I'll get with Brother Cleo on the Kingdom Convo session for this week to see if that'll be going on. But let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to close out. Shalom and blessings. show me how to live a life like Jesus Christ through sacrifice and tests and trials and lonely nights. Tests and trials, He made me strong. He gave me sight. He gave me sight. He made me strong. My past is gone. My future. Shalom, shalom. Getting ready to close out. Brothers and sisters, I want to thank everybody once again. Before we go, let me give everybody the emails once again. For everybody who have music, merchandise, or anything you want to dedicate to the family, reach out to us via email, and we'll make sure that we'll put those things in rotation. I want to thank everybody who has sent music and everything, and keep those things coming. I want to thank the brother Ralph and Sister SCR for the tracks. Sister Trust Cafe. I got my brother T, brother Smitty as well. All right, on the music end, I want to thank y'all for that. I want to thank the brother Yash for chiming in. He's one of the producers with us. So I want to always, as always, rather, it's good to have you on, bro. Good to vibe out and fellowship with you. You wanna say something to close out?
Yeah. I want to close out with, after listening to all this nonsense, I want to close out with Isaiah chapter 61.
Let me pull that up. You said Isaiah 61.
61.
Yeah, I gotta pull this up, man. This is some
Oh,
good
yeah.
stuff.
Wow. I'm gonna read it for you. There's something else. Let me open this up.
61, and where you want to start?
I'm starting from verse 1. I'm gonna read the whole daggone thing.
Go
I'm
ahead.
just going in. It says, the Ruach of Adonai Elohim is upon me, because Yahweh hath anointed me to preach glad tidings unto the meek. He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, we the captives, y'all, and the opening up of the prison to them that are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of Yah, and the day of vengeance of our Elohim, to comfort all those that mourn, to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, and the oil of joy for mourning, and the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called the trees of righteousness, the planting of Yahweh, that he might be glorified. And they shall build the old waste. They shall raise up the former desolations, and they shall repair the waste cities and the desolations of many generations. And strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, and the sons of the alien shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers. But ye shall be named the priest of Jehovah. Men shall call you the, give me mine. I like that one a little better. It's and men shall call you the ministers of our Elohim. You shall eat the riches of the Gentiles, and in their glory shall ye boast yourselves. For your shame, for our shame, ye shall have double, and for confusion we shall rejoice in our portion, or in their portion. Therefore, in their land they shall possess the double, and everlasting joy shall be unto them. For I, the Most High, love judgment. I hate robbery for burnt offering. And I will direct their work in truth, and I will make an everlasting covenant with y'all. And your seed shall be known among the Gentiles, and your offspring among the people. And all that see you shall acknowledge you, that you, my people, are the seed which the Most High has blessed, that we are the seed which Yah has blessed. And we will greatly rejoice in the Most High. Our souls will be joyful in our Elohim, for he hath clothed us with the garments of salvation. He has covered us with the robe of righteousness. As a bridegroom decks herself with ornaments, and as a bride adorns herself with her jewels. For as the earth brings forth her bud, and as the garden calls the things that are sown in it to spring forth, so the Most High Elohim will cause righteousness and praise to spring forth before all nations, and that's in us. That's what I got to say for this foolishness. So y'all can keep your reparations, and y'all can receive what would they? Y'all can receive the beat down from the Most High. As it said, you be driven from the face of men straight into this fire. But we're going to rejoice in the name of Yahweh, our Elohim.
Hallelujah. Brothers and sisters, I want to thank you for your time. I want to give all praises once again to our Heavenly Father. All praises to the Son, Yehoshua Mashiach. All praises to the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit. Brothers and sisters, be safe, be blessed, be encouraged, be faithful, all right, and be hopeful. I want to thank you for your time once again. This has been a Salt of the Earth production. Hallelujah.
Everywhere I go, the children rising. Everywhere I go, the children rising. I saw them just rise up. The wicked running, I saw them just rise up.